Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 5. Before I jump into my review, just want to let you know I did interview the actress of Bordeaux, Sol Rodriguez. That will be released on Monday, so keep your eye out for that. If it's already Monday, the link will be below the video. Also, check out my reviews of Task, which is also on HBO. Show is awesome. I highly suggest. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Instagram. That's where you'll see my movie reviews and other fun stuff there. I could really use the help. You have no idea. I'd really appreciate it. So, most of these episodes have had a flashback at the beginning. We get another one here where it's a quick flashback from 3 years ago to Rick Flag Jr.'s wake. You see Rick Flag Sr. is referencing the starfish they were sent to fight in Suicide Squad, so more and more they're making all those events of that movie pretty much canon. And he here is pulling at Harcourt, wanting to know who killed his son. He reaffirms to her that he loved you as a friend, which means more than anything for someone like Rick Flag Jr., and he says that's different. And you see Harcourt says to Rick Flag Sr. that the person who did this, that person will pay. I'll make sure of it. So it's that conflict that's always been in Harcourt and keeping her from making that next step with Peacemaker in a relationship. And they'll get into that in a scene later on when they talk on the bench, which we'll get to. I also want to mention, you see how he constantly says, call me Rick to her? He did it last episode in the present timeline. He does it in the flashback. It's kind of creepy because he does it when he's then coming on to Bordeaux later in the episode. So I wonder if it's insinuating that he's that type of person that would still even try to have some kind of relationship with his son who passed away, his previous interests. Now in the present day, we get this cool drone shot pulling in to Harcourt sitting at the bench where this trap's waiting for Peacemaker, but we see the way Peacemaker comes in and they could tell that he obviously knows what he's walking into. I love this was pretty funny because he's petting all these dogs and then we see him kick this soccer ball. She reveals to him that copacetic was the warning word. That's what she texted him at the end of last episode. So she did warn him in that way, and he still came. He wants to ask her before we know he's going to make this choice to go to the other dimension. Did I mean anything to you on that boat? This is the timeline we didn't see. I wish we did see. She says, no, I was drunk. I told you I wish it never happened. But we know deep down she has feelings for Peacemaker, obviously. But there's these other complications that keep it from happening. Like we saw at the beginning of the episode, there's always going to be that wound there about Rick Flag Jr., which she'll even say to him here where she's like, he was my only friend. You killed him. How could I ever? So it's that thing that's always blocking it. That's going to give Peacemaker the final go-ahead for him in his mind to go to the other dimension. Now, Bordeaux then shows up with a gun. This is going to be a fatal shot where the other guns were darts. And it's revealed, you're like, wait a second, what's going on with her eye? That she is a cyborg, which is awesome. And Rick Flag Sr. gives the go-ahead for her to do the fatal shot to Peacemaker. And then Harcourt beats Peacemaker up to save him. So she doesn't end up shooting him. Now, what's interesting is when she catches up with Economos, Harcourt doesn't share with Economos why Peacemaker still came, even though she warned him. That's also showing you, too, how Harcourt keeps that very precious. This isn't like a casual thing to her and doesn't want to bring that up even with an Economos. Now, Economos fills her in and us, the audience, of what the deal is with Bordeaux, that she's a cyborg. He says she was in a plane crash, all crushed up, and Argus replaced half her body with machinery. The best line of possibly the season, Economos says, I hate her so much, I used a pre-op photo of her mangled body as the screensaver on my phone for a while. I was dying at this line, and this is like James Gunn's humor to the fullest extent. But Harcourt gives Economos the big mission here, which is to book Peacemaker or Rick is going to kill him. So we know obviously Harcourt does not want that to happen. Now what's also interesting is when Frank's about to beat up Peacemaker, he throws Bordeaux and Fleury out of the room, but you see Fleury's concerned, and this sets up Fleury actually telling Economos later it was the right thing he did by booking Chris. So this is someone I think too they can pull to their side, where Bordeaux is the opposite case, which we'll get to. And you see that Rick beats Peacemaker good, even though Peacemaker's trying to tell him not a day goes by that he doesn't regret killing him. Now, Bordeaux will walk in on this beating, and she's the one who tells Rick Flag he was booked. So we don't even know how far Rick Flag was willing to take that. He might have killed him there if she didn't walk in, and if he wasn't booked, which I think that is the case. Now, when Bordeaux goes to see Rick clarifies his priority is still finding the rift. I believe he's full of it here. That is a priority, of course, for Argus, but his number one is getting revenge on Peacemaker and killing him. He's lying to Bordeaux, saying that he knew Amelia was going to stop Bordeaux from shooting Peacemaker, but Bordeaux shares she has no problem taking him out. So this is where this connection is going to be, and we'll even see he says to her to call him Rick now, and we'll see they cozy up later on. So that's getting set up as another side here. Now we'll see on the other side of things, Leota is with Vigilante at the shack. She gets a call that she thinks is for her ad in the paper, but it's for actually someone looking for a prostitute. Vigilante fills her in, but I thought this scene was kind of a throwaway and wasn't that funny, to be honest. A little bit of a miss for me. But then what really worked was getting this payoff with Eagle Hunter here on the prowl of Eagly. This is like a whole separate story in this episode, which was ridiculous, which made it so funny. He throws a poison mouse to lure Eagly, and if Vigilante didn't talk to Eagly to distract him, Eagly would have been killed, and a fox is what ends up getting it. And then the Eagle Hunter gets his biggest rifle ever. It's so funny seeing Michael Rooker do this role. He shoots an eagle that he thinks is Eagly, but the real Eagly knocks him down a couple times, and then this whole eagle posse shows up, and Eagly glows, his eyes light up, and he's revealed to be the prime eagle. So Eagle Hunter then is apologizing as he's getting mauled. So really cool to see that through these Eagle Hunter's powers, we see there's more to Eagly than meets the eye. So I like they're actually evolving Eagly as a character. What I love is this running joke too, that Peacemaker is unaware of all the carnage Eagly has caused. Like, Eagly brings the finger of the Eagle Hunter home later to Peacemaker. He's like, I'm going to pretend you found that. But he has no idea what he just did. He has no idea what he did taking out all the Argus agents. I just love that they've kept that going. That Eagly's like the true hero who's not even getting his due and recognition. Now, speaking of Peacemaker, he's able to leave Argus headquarters because they can't risk him going to jail looking all beat up like that. But that's why Rick Flag sends Judo Master to tail him. Now, I thought it was interesting that Peacemaker, while he's with Leota and Vigilante in the car, he thinks Harcourt purposely wanted to get him captured. And Leota's like, that's crazy. Harcourt wouldn't want to do that. And I feel like Peacemaker should have kind of known that too, because he already knows she tried to warn him from coming there. So it was a little weird how kind of dumb he was here. Maybe a little too dumb for my taste in the writing. And it even goes on because as he writes his letter, he does write in the letter that he's like, even though he loves Harcourt, still he's like a little pissed at her about that. So, I don't know about that either. A little bit of a stretch, but it's not the biggest deal. I think they just wanted to leave it on a note where there's still some tension between him and Harcourt, but I don't think he even needed it. I think there was already a weird, awkward tension with her kind of rejecting him. Now, Peacemaker and Eagly, after he writes his letter, will go into the other dimension. Judo Master follows. I love they know it's Judo Master who followed him because of the Cheeto fingerprints. So that finally gets this like huge payoff, those Cheetos. And I love November Rain plays, even though we don't get to hear the best part of the song with Slasher's guitar solo. But you see that when Peacemaker gets to the other dimension and sees his brother, he's told by Keith that they got to take care of a kaiju, which we saw this monster in Superman and him battle one, so it's cool to see him on the news footage and them take him down. This is the trio that does it, him and his dad and Keith, and obviously Eagly, so it's more than a trio now. And he introduces his brother to Eagly as a rescue eagle, which was hysterical. And I love Leota reads the group the letter now, and in that letter it said, I'm not sure redemption is truly possible, at least not here. I'm gonna make a life in the other world, brother to my brother, son to my father, and talking about how he's gonna open up to other Harcourt and give her a chance. He's like, I'm trying to be the good person that he wanted to be in this world. And he left the portal device for them to take into Argus so they can get in their good graces again. I love Vigilante crying here too. That was great. They needed to do that, and it just made so much sense for his character. And I'm happy that Leota brings up to Harcourt, like, did you really turn in Peacemaker? And she's like, no. And she calls Bordeaux a PMSing cyborg. I don't think I'd ever hear that line in my life. That was great. And the group obviously wants to get Peacemaker back. And Vigilante's like, maybe we'll meet another one of me there. So I can't wait to see like their other versions of these characters. It's probably gonna be what you don't expect. And it's really setting up an awesome second half because this is what I wanted, right? I wanted the group back together, and to see them all together again working to get Peacemaker back is gonna be, I think, really good. Because for the first half, it's just too scattershot with everybody being in different places. The best of the show of season one, what made it so special was just seeing the chemistry of this cast there in this group. It works so well. And I thought the same thing with Guardians 1 compared to Guardians 2. Is like Guardians 1, they're all together. It's amazing. Guardians 2, they're all split up the Guardians, and it's just not as good. So I love when James Gunn has his crew in one place. And we see, like I said, they defeated the kaiju in the other dimension. Life's good for Peacemaker, and he has his girl, and they're about to embrace. So really cool cliffhanger. Really enjoyed this episode. This is definitely the best one of the season, and it sets up such an exciting path for the second half now and what's going to happen. I mean, James Gunn has publicly said episode 6 is his favorite episode. He directed it. It's the next one out, and it's one critics have not seen yet. So I'm excited to see where this is going to turn, who we might see. Maybe we'll see someone from Superman, who knows? But I can't wait. I'm going to give this episode an 8.2. Let me know what you thought of it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, check out my interview with Sol Rodriguez, who plays Bordeaux. That will be out on Monday. And please follow me on Instagram at Steve Varley Show and help in so many ways you have no idea. And I'll see you next time.